All right, the recording has started. I welcome you all to the Science Day debate. Um, the motion has been given to you 15 minutes before. And with that, I now invite the Prime Minister to put forward the guests from side opening government and for you all to continue the debate afterwards. Here.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are. I'll be leaving, guys. All the best. Bye-bye.
Okay, as discussed earlier, I think there was a plan to share the timer on the screen to make it a little bit easier for the viewers as well as the adjudicator. So is anybody doing that? Hello, I'm still audible, right?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, can someone share the screen then? Because I think that was discussed earlier. Maybe someone in CO.
Yeah, my bandwidth is really low, so it's not working.
Okay,
Can
Abhikya is
Mehul do
here.
it possibly?
Okay, Mehul. Mehul, are you here? Yeah, okay. Just set it to stopwatch, no? Yeah, that way it'll be easier. Yeah. Okay.
Can you see the background? Or should
No,
I
no,
maximize it?
it's just a black screen with the timer, so it's fine.
Cool.
Okay. Just yeah, starting in 3, 2, 1. Panel, how are we going to define corporate funding in this? This means that corporates funding public institutes, corporates funding government labs, corporates funding research labs. That's how we define corporate funding. This is like when we say we limit corporate funding, this does not mean funding to their own labs, like corporate research. That's not what we mean. We mean that we limit funding to research labs, to government institutes like IITs, like IISc, like ICERs, like NICERs, etc. But to understand that, the first question we need to answer is why do corporate funds government labs? Right? They do so in order to go, in order to go ahead and develop their own and develop research that is going to be beneficial for them in the market. Right? What does this look like? It looks like using government infrastructure funding, which is given through like public grants through public institutions, which is funded by taxpayer money in turn, and using intellectual capital which is developed within these government institutions like IITs, like professors in IITs, in order to go ahead and do these. Right? And who are these institutions that go ahead and do this? We think that these are like big enough corporate institutions who have the capital to go ahead and like actually set up like a entire like arm for going ahead and funding in different institutions, and therefore we think they're only the big players in the market, right? So basically they're like very big multinational corporations which exist within the country, which means that they're institutions in big pharma, in big oil, in big tech, things like that, which go ahead and like fund these institutions, right? But before that, understand what research in like big institutions, the funding behind it, the scientific research that goes on in these institutions, what is it meant to, like who is it meant to cater to, right? We think it is meant to improve the lives of the people of the country who are like funding this in the first place, people who need the scientific research in order to go ahead and make advancements, right? What does it look like? This looks like, for example, like IIT Kharagpur coming up with like a COVID test which is like as cheap as 1 rupee, which can cater to like which can cater to public interest, right? This looks like the agricultural department of IIT Kharagpur coming up with a technological disruption which like brings help to farmers or like improves the agricultural sector, right? What this does not mean is that like we want to use this research as the sole property of this one company in order to improve the market for themselves, but understand like why like any research that is funded by a particular MNC or a particular company is going to solely go to that company, right? We believe that this as a part of this funding, like these companies will want like the ownership of that technology, or like put it under an NDA, or like have intellectual property rights over it. Why is this, right? Two reasons. First, from a reasoning standpoint, we think it only makes sense for these corporates to have to have sole control over it because of this technology, or if this research is made free to everybody, I'll take POS later, is made free to everybody, then what is going to happen is that like other players in the market are going to gain access to the same tech, right? Which means that like the advantage that is like accrued by this company by using the research is going to be voided, which means that it is naturally an interest of them to go ahead and do this. But empirically, this is also true, right? Like right now, like I am interning at a firm like who has like a client who I'm not allowed to disclose, who has actually requested IIT Kharagpur for funding, like for research in a particular sector, and it's under an NDA, right? Which means this is empirically true. We don't think this can essentially be contested. But what does this look like in the alternative, right? In the alternative, that that we don't have this, that we don't have like these kinds of companies like acting as vultures. We think like the alternative is that the government is going to have like the institute, and that by extension the government is going to have control over like research, which is going to be beneficial for everybody, like the COVID test I mentioned earlier, right? Which essentially means that indirectly the public has a say over it, and we think this is only like right to do because they are essentially the ones who are funding this through taxpayer money, through public grants, and through other scientific like funding institutions, right? But secondly, understand like what do we like mean when we say we limit this? Like why are we not like simply going and like banning it? Which is like the obvious question, like which is from my speech so far. We think that we won't go ahead and do this because of the fact that like we need some amount of like incentive for this infrastructure to be developed and to make the landscape competitive as well, right? Which means if the government understands that like corporate funding can take away all the benefits of like the government oriented research to like these corporate institutions because of their IPR over it, because of the sole use that they have over it, which means it's not going to benefit the country in any way. We think that this gives the government additional incentive to fund these professors, to fund these research institutions, right? Because because now that they don't have funding, they're more likely to like lobby these institutions. There's more likely to be outcry in the scientific community over this, and we think that this is going to like work out for the betterment of the people in the long term. Yes, I'll take your question now.
Oh yeah, why do you in your definition say that you'll only limit these funding, the corporates funding government institutions and not their own labs, etc.?
Like understand like why we are saying that, right? We think like corporate labs which are like doing their own funding, you can't essentially go and like restrict things which have like that's their own institution, right? You're allowed to set up things like which you can fund and which you can carry out research in, and you can do all that. Like that the total thing is funded by the corporate itself, which means like if a multinational company say I don't know, any multinational company wants to come to India, then they like as far as it is allowed by the Indian government to actually come here and like operate, then we think like they can have their research labs in which they develop stuff, right? Like Facebook or Google or whatever have their own like machine learning research labs or whatever, and so do companies in the big oil and the big pharma space. And like they're going to like recruit people for that, they're going to pay them. We can't take away the choice of independent people in doing so. We think that it only makes reasonable sense to debate this motion in a scenario where there is actually where there is an actual impact to the people that is accruing because of this funding being like limited. And we think that like that only makes sense in these big government institutions, because these are the biggest institutions in the country which are carrying out research, right? Like private institutions do exist, but we don't think like they are carrying out research to the intellectual capability or to the financial capital that is like that is being carried out by government institutions like IITs, like ISERs, like IISc, etc. Which is why we think that like it has to be limited to this, right? But moving on, understand what is going to happen in the alternative in our paradigm, right? Once like we limit this corporate funding, is that like the government funding is going to increase, and like by also like through the mechanism discussed earlier, like the ownership of this, like the distribution and like the sale of like the technology that is developed through the scientific research is essentially going to be free, right? It's not going to be limited by one institution which is going to use it for its own capitalistic benefits, which is essentially profits, like both in India and abroad for their country, but essentially it's going to be useful for the people of India, right? Why is this essentially important is not only because like the infrastructure that is in place, the people who are in place are human capital through the country, which has been like who has been educated in Indian institutions here, like essentially the government has made an investment in them, because like these are highly trained individuals who are like educated in places like IITs, in places like IISc, etc. Like and their education has been subsidized by the taxpayer. But not only that, understand like what the research is going to look like in the long term for these people, right? We think it's going to enable like the public sector in general, which means that for people who cannot afford like certain prices, are going to like now get subsidized prices. Like for example, like just imagine if like AstraZeneca or like some other firm like that some big pharmaceutical firm had ownership over the COVID research that was produced by IIT Kharagpur, which makes it extremely cheap, right? They're not going to sell it at the cheap price. They're going to make it available in the private market, right? Which means the prices are going to be competitive. Which means that like some person who cannot afford something that is so essential is not going to be able to afford that thing, right? But we think in the alternative, like this is going to happen. But secondly, also understand that this research can enable homegrown institutions to come up in the market, right? Which means that like Indian like corporations, Indian startups, etc., will be able to use this research in order to like benefit and improve the Indian economy, the homegrown economy, right? Instead of like thereby preventing brain drain, thereby preventing people working in MNCs, which is going to be better for India in general. And we think that's why we're very, very proud to propose. Thank you.
Oh, hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Oh, okay. I'll start in like 10 seconds. Okay, I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Panel, we live in a world where like the government is like struggling to like fund research itself, and that's why we that's why we think from side opposition that you should not like limit like Mehul, start the timer. Mehul.
Yeah, go.
I'll start again. Panel, we live in a world where the government itself is struggling to go ahead and fund this fund like scientific research, because they have like more important things to prioritize, which is like taking care of people, taking care of their citizens, making sure that people are employed and generating employment, stuff like that, right? But panel, understand that and that's why from side opposition we're debating this motion, we're opposing this motion, so that like you don't limit corporate funding in scientific research, right? We think that scientific research, that corporates should fund scientific research, because they can like get in a lot of capital, B because they are like very, very efficient compared to the government, and C because they are much more progressive, and we'll prove these 3 points to you as our speech goes, like in both our substantive speeches. But like coming firstly to like why like corporates can fund these scientific researches more, right? We think that the government has some kind of an upper bound on which like they can fund these projects, because we think that they like the government itself is like very inefficient in like many decisions. For example, like approving funds, like going ahead and like allocating funds and giving them like giving funds to these labs, etc. We think that these labs don't. I'll take POIs after the 5th. I think, and we think that these, and due to this inefficiency, we think that anyways, like a lot of money itself is like wasted in a lot of ways in these labs, right? But we think that on the other hand, that corporates are much more efficient, and we think that the research that they carry out is much more progressive than the research that the government would carry out for its own political and political benefits, etc. Right? And what are these benefits we're talking about? We think that when the government goes ahead and funds these labs and research and scientific research, they have a lot of like benefit, which they like their incentive behind funding these labs, etc., is to show people on a surface level that they have done something good for the people, right? But understand that at a point where the government itself cannot like legitimize its vaccine for COVID, and goes and like asks for Oxford to give the country a vaccine made by Oxford, which is corporate funded. We think that at that point of time the government proves that like it's not efficient enough. It proves that it cannot like go ahead and like and have like sufficient funding to go ahead and do scientific research, right? But panel, we also think that when corporate funding is there, the market is much more competitive. There could be like peer review and things like that, right? We think that this all totally disappears, and there is like total loss of accountability of the government on their side, right? Because understand, like when like what the government does, right? It basically plays with the sentiments of people by funding by funding things which certain people want, which certain people want to see, and they related to somehow related to the pride or to the history of their country, right? But we don't think that science works like that, right? We think that science works only on proofs and not on sentiments, right? Understand, when like when the government goes ahead and like approves or Ramdev Baba's vaccine 8 months ago, and when that turns out to be a hoax, and it creates a lot of like unrest in the country, we think that, and when the government takes literally like no action against Ramdev Baba, we think that, and when they allow him to like carry out, like when the government supports him to carry out his research, we think that they are only promoting the old kind of sentiments, and they're catering to the people in the first place, right? Because understand that this is like more of a, so this is like our government is more of like a socialist government, right? We think that when they go ahead and like when they go ahead and cater to these sentiments of the people, the efficiency at which their research works, the efficiency at which their lab works, etc., reduces a lot, right? And understand that's exactly the reason why the vaccine made by the government is only an emergency vaccine, and the vaccine given to the people is actually a corporate funded vaccine, right? But understand that, and understand, yeah. I'll take Rohit's POI if he has any now.
Yeah, Yash, do you agree that the end goal of scientific research is not research in itself, but in order to benefit the people? If you do agree, then tell me how, like, corporates funding vaccines will benefit people, because, like I said, they have intellectual property rights over it. Other corporates are not allowed to use that, etc.
Right. So coming to your point, when you talk about like benefiting people and things like that, we think that the government, what the government does is only like benefits people on a surface level, right? We think that we think that most of their, like, even and like even if they try to like provide like subsidized like subsidized vaccines and things like that to the public, we don't think that their efficacy is like greater than the vaccines that private corporates and things, and like private companies, etc., provide, right? And that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, that private corporates, the funding that they do is solely like because they are accountable to the people who invest in them, right? And that's exactly why they have to show that they're capable enough to like go ahead and like remain funded continuously by the people, right? But understand that this is the kind of accountability that exists, right? And that's why the efficacy and the efficiency of their research increases like exponentially as compared to what the government does, because it's just like eating taxpayer money, and understand that the amount of money also is like very less to have like a proper kind of research, right? But understand that bigger scientists, etc., like very renowned scientists, etc., would not want to go ahead with and like work with the government, because they will get paid lesser, and because they don't see like any kind of incentive to go ahead and work with the government, right? We think that at that point of time, when they go ahead and when these scientists go ahead and choose the corporate, we think that we think that the research in the corporate, etc., is going to be like much better on our side, and hence we're very, very proud to oppose.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
audible.
yeah.
My timer is visible now.
It's visible.
Uh,
I'll start in 3, 2, 1. First of all, let's talk about the AstraZeneca Oxford example, which Yash likes is very fond of, right? Understand the main problem with that particular example is that AstraZeneca had controlling rights over who could manufacture that vaccine around the world or not, which also means that countries in Africa, countries across Asia, which did not have as much as hard parts, such as the European countries or India, for example, could not actually manufacture that vaccine, or the companies within those countries could not actually manufacture those vaccines because AstraZeneca was responsible to the dear investors, which Yash talks about towards the end of his speech, because these dear investors have invested money and their only interest is to earn that money back and gain profits out of it, which means that which is why like the vaccine distribution has been limited, has been so heavily biased that Canada right now has stored as much as vaccines to like vaccinate one person 7 times, whereas African countries can't really vaccine 1 out of 7 people, right? Understand this is what this is the kind of bias which corporate funding in research creates. Understand in a paradigm where like where the vaccine was completely funded by for example the UK government, they could still the UK government could still have had at least like have at least shared the formula for the vaccine or the property rights of the vaccine with other countries, but now it really can't because AstraZeneca has controlling rights over it. We believe that that happens for a lot of products across the world and would happen in within a state such as India as well. But understand, let's clear Yash's doubt about how this funding is going to come, right? How the government will have so much money to like give into corporate funding. Understand, we talk about like limiting funding and not like banning it completely, but okay, understand the kind of mechanism which helps government to create those funds within the system. Understand that when like for example a particular public university has created say an algorithm for to solve XYZ problem, this means that the government owns that algorithm. Understand that this particular algorithm can also be distributed like for private use to other companies as well. But understand, once the government distributes this license, it also has controlling right over the kind of price which this company sets. It also has a lot of say in how this algorithm is used, etc., etc. But understand that once like this company goes straight to this public institution, signs an NDA with it, this particular company will have sole right to this algorithm and can only this company can use this algorithm. But understand, when like 100 companies within this country have this particular algorithm to say like solve an agricultural problem, this also sort of creates a free market within the country where like the cost of product keeps going down and down because of like the kind of free market which we operate in. This has no avenue of happening in paradigm in which Yash talks about. Understand that also this means that this generates revenue for the government to further these research, but also they have not really proved why like government have like such huge lack of funding in their system, that they don't really give out any mechanisms for it. Then let's come on to the second point about like how like governments have political incentive. We believe that that's like the basic crux of accountability which we have on our side versus their own. I'll integrate this with this another constructive which I have in this case. Why are public labs or public institutes created in the first place? Understand that the problem with corporate research, with research say happening in Microsoft, Google, etc., is that it's private, right? It's not shared with anyone, which also means that it's going to be shared, or it's only going to be used for like monetary incentives, which means that it does not really cater to the most vulnerable section of the society, which is why government uses public funds to create labs, to create instruments, etc., etc., and appoints professors who have the tags of IITs given to them by the government, so that they can back these so that they can like create research which is meaningful to the public. The reason this principle does not hold on their side is because of like the IPR argument which Rohit talks about, and hence like goes totally against the principle of why these public institutes are created in the first place. But also understand that these public institutes are created via the public money, via the taxpayers' money to cater to the public, and this taxpayer money is indirectly used for corporate benefit, right? This means that even though like the professor may use like corporate funding to carry out his research, but he's still using like some resources of the lab, but also the time which he allocates his time for like private incentive rather than catering to the public. This also means that he's using the tag which is given to him by the government, like the tag of say being an IIT professor, etc., for private benefits rather than catering to the public. This also means that like now the same professor who developed, for example, a formula for a fertilizer which could have been given to NABARD or any other government entity to have like to be sold on like at a very cheap cost, will probably be sold to a company such as DuPont, etc., to be manufactured at a very heavy price to simply gain profits out of it. We simply do not understand what's the principal justification of them then going on to say that this will benefit the public, right? We believe that the institutes should first of all follow their own principle of creation, right, which is to cater to the public. Then like coming on to this onto another point about like this meaningful research, like how he talks about fringe examples such as Baba Ramdev, etc., which I won't really engage upon because it's false, like actions were taken, etc., because of public backlash. But understand why meaningful research will happen in the first place. I think Yash or like the opposition bench forgets about rankings, institute rankings, QS world rankings, etc., the soft power of India, for example. Understand like US, UK, Europe, etc., the scientific communities within these countries will obviously look down upon institutes such as IIT or like in general like the government institutes if they do not produce meaningful research, which creates an active incentive for the government to push for meaningful research, to push for like research which is say like landscape changing, etc. And this kind of incentive also creates a check and balance on the inefficiency which Yash talks about. Understand that when he talks about like, oh, government labs is inefficient, I don't really understand what kind of world he's living in. Understand that I as a professor, if I take like 10 crores from the government, I have a huge pressure on me to deliver results because I won't receive funding for the next time if I don't give out any result. Understand that if I eat 10 crore rupees of taxpayer money, I'm not really going to get any money like for the rest of my life for research. We believe that sort of system also incentivizes professors to give out meaningful research. But understand that all of 100% of this result is aimed at like public benefit and aimed at like the most vulnerable section of the society, which we believe is a huge win over what anything which the opposition bench has to offer in terms of depth of impact and even like principle. And hence we are very proud to propose. Thank you. Can anyone else share the timer now?
Is my screen visible?
Yeah. I'm audible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just a second. Starting in 3, 2, 1. First of all, like rebutting the last point which came in Mehul's speech. Okay, QS world rankings exist, but understand you're going to get a lot more voters through like just promoting homeopathy or whatever Ayurveda and all that, and earning like more support from people, because people in general think that homeopathy is far better than English medicine, and so that's what we must do. We think that QS rankings then are a very small incentive compared to the sort of voters which you can gain by doing whatever thing which you want to do. So we think that is a completely very uncomparative rebuttal, never thinking about their own side as to like how things exist on one side. Always just picking one side and just pointing flaws out is not enough. You have to compare and give arguments himself in the first place. Then going to the Oxford example, understand Mehul himself during his own speech understood that UK was not, even if this would have been under the government, UK would not have given it to poorer countries. Why they wouldn't have given? Because they had this strong public pressure from their own people that first vaccinate us. Our country has created this vaccine, so first vaccinate us. At best what they do next, because they want to take care of their allies, so they'll first give it to Canada, they'll give it to USA. We think that if like this would have been under the UK, like under the UK government's control, it would have never come to India at all, because India is not a very huge strategic partner to UK. So we think that on our side, at least, India, which is a developing country, is able to is basically has become the world's greatest producer in itself in the first place, and that's how like India is doing this in itself in the first place. On their side, India would have never gotten this would have just been limited to developed countries, wouldn't have come to a developing country like India. And on the second thing, even if we take their case that okay, it'll be given, we think that first of all you should have producing capabilities, right? Most of the like at the end of the day, governments do not have their own like companies which are very efficient. For example, NABARD and things like any government companies do not work well. That is one of the reasons why the like government is selling all those companies, because these companies just aren't efficient enough. Basically, whenever government takes control of this, we think that it's a very simple analysis which they don't want to understand. That wherever there is bureaucracy, wherever there's a lot of permissions you have to get for anything, it's more likely that it's going to be inefficient. It's not going to be like some professor who has gotten money and can like literally throw it away. It's more likely going to be a good professor who has like a good idea for some sort of research, never getting that funding in itself in the first place. That's the sort of comparative which we'll see on side government. And so we think that's how it's going to exist. So we think that even in their best case that somehow they give it to underdeveloped countries, it does not matter, because they won't be able to produce it. Again, you'll go on to the same thing, where now because only these big companies can produce these vaccines at a large scale, again you will have to sell the IPR to these companies. So we think that there's no change at all. But where do we necessarily see a change? First of all, understand why OG and we think government bench as a whole will lose this debate completely. We think that they have never shown how government spending is going to increase. No mechanism at all. We think that we'll show to you how like government spending will not increase at all. Understand, because like what is the incentive? They have given no incentive for that. For example, now you as a government, you have so many other needs, you have so many other things where you can earn more political points by talking about that, oh, I have given funding for this, I have increased the money which I'm giving to farmers, the money I'm giving to the army or something like that. You think that in this sort of scenario, you think just because corporates are like restricted, government is not going to do that. And even if they do that, they use again the point of bureaucracy, that they'll take so much time in passing out funds and giving approvals and things like that. In that sort of scenario, we see that first of all, most likely this funding is not going to increase. Even if it increases, it will be given out in such an inefficient manner that most of these people will have passed out by the time they can even get funding. I won't take any POS. I have a lot of matter to cover. Sorry. So that's why we see that this is not going to happen. This funding is not going to increase. So understand, we'll take our worst case and show to you even then why that's a better thing than side government. Understand in the worst case what basically happens is that okay, each and every research which is done in the first place is taken away by these companies. Everything, all the rights is being taken away by this company. We think that still that company will at least produce it and at least it will reach people. It's better than that thing not existing in itself in the first place and not reaching people. And we think that okay, somehow even with government funding, if they're able to create some sort of research, we think that that's not going to reach. Again, they'll pass to the same thing, where because for producing that you will have to still sell the IP rights to any of these major corporations for producing it in itself in the first place. So we think that that's not going to happen at all. And so we think that even in our worst case, it's still better because more funding will exist. Because understand first of all, why are these people taking corporate funding in itself in the first place? The way they characterize corporate funding, that basically you don't get credit for it, all the rights is being taken away from you. We think that that's a worse situation than getting government funding, where you're able to independently do whatever you want to, don't have a lot of control or whatever. But we think that they're doing that in itself in the first place because they don't get government funding. That's why they go to corporates in itself in the first place. So we see that clearly there's this lack of funding because of which they go to corporates. And so we see that at least on our side there's additional research happening, and additional research even in like the worst scenario will at least reach people through even through the corporates, but still will reach people. Whereas on their side we see lesser research happening, and even if more research happening, still the same things exist. Like even then, like you will have to sell it to some big company. Understand, like in the whole world, not even a single government company is producing vaccines. That the reason for that is because like they are not efficient enough. They do not perform as well as these corporates, and that's why we think that that's not going to happen at all. And so we think that when government like side government is not able to show how government funding will increase a lot more, and don't show how even if like even if this research exists, how will it reach to people without these corporates then taking away profits and whatnot. We think that that's still a better scenario on our side. And we think that even on our side, we don't think all corporates just like buy all the IP rights. We think just out of goodwill, like for showing to the world that we are very good people, we are funding research of some some people just because we want to help the country and all that, just for positive advertisement. Also we think that companies will give this sort of funding. So we think that that's still a better scenario, that more funding exists, and so we are very, very proud to oppose.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
are.
you are. Oh, okay, I'll start in 10 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1, start. Whoever has the timer, can that person like start the timer? Whoever is screen sharing. Okay, cool, thanks. Panel, understand what is the entire objective of the scientific research that we're talking about, right? Side opening clearly keeps on debating about things like vaccines and stuff, right? But they clearly miss out on the major objective of scientific research, right? And we believe that side opposition clearly misses out on this narrative of scientific research completely, right? So basically, what do we mean by scientific research, and why is it conducted in the first place, right? So scientific research is done in order to make sure that there is development of new things like new tech, new products, new services, right? And why is this research done? So that there are new formulas, new innovations, and new things coming up, right? And why will any country go ahead and essentially invest in something like scientific research, right? One basic reason, that is to achieve self-sufficiency, right? That is to achieve development, right? Understand that you can go ahead and import tech from any other country in the world, right? But when you create that sort of value in your own country, when you create that sort of technology, that sort of development in your own country, it has a significant value, right? It gives you significant power, not only nationally, not only in your own country, but it also gives you significant power internationally itself, right? This is what we believe the objective of any scientific research is, right? And when we talk about it being heavily funded by corporates, we believe that this sort of objective of the particular scientific research gets very, very limited, right? And this is something which we will be proving to you throughout our two speeches in itself, right? So let's start with what are the major points of argumentation that we will be bringing to you in this debate, right? So first, let's talk about how this is going to lead to a lot of privatization of research in itself, right? Understand what do we mean by privatization of this scientific research, right? So basically what essentially happens here is that the scientific research is being carried out for technology, for innovation, and for development, right? And the point at which you actually give that sort of power or control to the corporates, we believe that they have a major influence on the working, on the principle, and the results of the research in itself, right? We believe that these corporates can heavily influence the kind of outcome that will be published. We believe that these like corporates will have like a lot of influence of how this entire thing is going to be used, how is it going to be published, how is it going to be implemented, and we believe as a result of which the primary objective of the scientific research, that was to create innovation, to reach out to public, to create some sort of value diminishes in itself, right? Because now, because it is in the hands of corporates, and we believe the sort of incentive that government has to make it public, to make sure that it reaches a wide variety of people, and to make sure that it caters to a need of a lot of other sectional groups, that completely seizes off in the case of corporates, right? Simply because of the sort of nature that the corporates possess, right? The main objective of corporates is to make sure that they capture a high market, right? That is to say, they'll have rights to set prices to that sort of technology, or they will have sort of significant rights to make sure that where this technology is going, if they get a good buyer outside, they'll probably go ahead and sell the technology outside, right? That is to say, they have no incentive whatsoever to make sure that the technology or the innovation is rightly being used in the country, right? Secondly, what happens is we believe that the corporation gets major manipulation control, right? Panel understand that throughout now we have been talking about research or products which have been which will just be used by public, right? But scientific research expands beyond as well, right? We're talking about research which involves things like environmental impacts, and which involves things like what is happening underground or over water, overseas, climate change, and a lot of things in itself, right? That is to say, there is a huge impact of research over the entire scientific community, right? What happens, and we believe that now and today we are living in a world where corporates have been significantly known to cause a significant amount of damage to the environment, to the environment and the economy in itself, right? And we believe that when corporates have such kind of power over these sort of scientific research, they have that sort of monopoly to suppress and selectively publish things which will just cater to their needs, right? We believe that they can manipulate the research in their own favor, so that what happens is they can just go ahead and say that, okay, this research favors us, or or this research shows that whatever we are doing is not that wrong, or whatever we are doing is not that, does not create that sort of impact, right? And thirdly, the third point of argumentation, which we believe is a major extension from our side of the house, is what it leads to a conflict of research, right? I understand, panel, that we have only been viewing research from the point of its own objective, or why research is being done, right? But we also need to look at who are the people who are actually involved in doing this research, right? We believe that throughout the country there are many educational institutions, there are many streams, and there are many educational backgrounds, and we believe that there are a lot of types of students who are involved actively in research, right? We believe that the point at which corporates are involved, and corporates have significant power over what kind of research has to be conducted, it sort of limits the sort of research that has to be conducted, right? For example, we live in an economy where the corporates will only fund research, or where the corporates will significantly fund research which is like money making, or which is like profit driven, right? And we believe that a lot of streams, a lot of educational backgrounds, a lot of streams in itself will be left out, right? And we believe that this becomes a conflict of interest for the students for the students and professors who are also involved in the research, right? For example, if you want to do research in your own core department, right, you might not be able to do it because there are lack of opportunities, lack of funding in that particular part, simply because the corporates are not really interested in research and really interested in funding your type of research, right? The only thing they're interested in to make sure that they fund research which is going to inherently benefit them, right? And we believe that this sort of conflict and that this sort of limitation is very, very harmful to a lot of other streams, to a lot of other educational backgrounds, students and professors which will be involved in that, right? And the fourth point of argumentation being, why do we actually feel that a government funding is much better, right? Side opposition keeps on talking you, they keep on harping you, right, that the government is inefficient and it won't be able to fund, right? This is the only thing that they come up with, right? We essentially don't understand why. Even if we do consider the argument of political incentive, right? The government has significant incentive to go ahead and fund this kind of research, right? Simply because I've already talked to you about what is the objective of the research, right? It creates value for the country, it creates innovation and technology, and it actually gives the government a lot of power play, right? And the point at which you have that kind of power, the point at which you're actually going to create that sort of value for your own country, we believe that there is a significant amount of incentive for the government to go ahead and invest or to go ahead and fund this kind of research in itself, right? Secondly, we believe that the government has a much better social contract and has a much better incentive to make sure that this technology is used appropriately in to develop the country, to make sure that the country is thriving and these innovations reach the people that it should be reached, right? We believe that there is a greater amount of transparency, greater amount of social contract, and greater amount of alignment towards the interest of people, which we believe is not present in a corporate funded scientific research in itself, right? So with this, very, very proud to propose.
Hey, yeah, Shri, so reset the timer.
Yeah, you guys can stop the time.
Okay, start. Mr. Speaker, understand that this the sports science has so far only focused on one particular aspect of science, that is to improve the quality of life. To understand that that is a long-term goal as a whole, right? There are certain parts of science which are focusing on improving life as a whole at the moment. However, there's also another part that is only created to the that's very integral to science, which is to satiate intellectual curiosity, right? This is something which we will prove to you. This is, for starters, very important because it's what has created long-term development. Because uh, studies such as theoretical physics, which have no particular impact yet at the moment, have major impact in a long time in the future. Right? For example, research in theoretical physics in the early 20th century has created most of the things that we have right now through stuff like general relativity. Right? Also understand science also has an objective to remain objective. And we'll prove to you that on their side, this objectivity of science completely goes away because the primary institutions that are supposed to be conducting this objective research will no longer be as objective and will be biased. For starters, let's point out the logical fallacies in the definition of opening government, right? They come here and they restrict the definition of scientific funding to only corporate funding to only public institutions and not their own labs, right? Understand that this puts them in a very bad position. Why? For starters, they come here and say they do this because these public institutions have the brains and the technology to conduct the research they want to. And then they come and say that these are the ones who are the companies that are doing this are the ones who are extremely large in nature and have the money to conduct the research. What happens when you start? What happens when you combine these two things and restrict this funding, right? What objective does a professor who's working in an IIT have to continue working in an IIT when he can conduct the same research when a company by just say, very same research as interested in a company and get a lot more money, right? What objective does he then have to stay over here? He's has his education. He can make much more money by joining the company and conducting research in their labs with him studying the same thing, right? Second, this for starters, this completely drains these institutions from their most brightest people because these guys will necessarily go have the great incentive to go work with these labs and make much more money. And also, whatever harms I've told you about, where harms I've told you about, where they'll have the intellectual property rights, and that completely exists on their completely start existing on their side of the house as well, because these big researchers go there. And if you're talking about technology not existing, then this technology can be, if these companies are really that big who need to do these things, such as say Google is one of the companies who do fund public institutions, they can just buy the technology that's required within the lab and can continue to conduct the research, right? Secondly, understand that Mehul comes in and says and talks about very important algorithm that is very important for the government to have, and if it goes to the hands of the private institutions, it can be very expensive and can majorly deter what the costs are. Right? Understand that this is a very particular, first of all, it's a very fringe case, but if we generalize it more to existing to a lot of very important urgent research that is required that will greatly improve the quality of life for a lot of people. Understand that a government, by virtue of being a representative of people and having the accountability, is necessarily going to go ahead and fund these public institutions to do research in these areas, right? And by virtue of being hired by the institution, these researchers are going to necessarily be working for the government in developing these algorithms and these technologies, right? In that situation, because of the prioritization of working for the institution, they will know the researchers much more likely to continue much more likely to continue working for the institution, and this property rights will be in the hands of the government itself, right? On the other case, if this doesn't happen, then either it's not as important, the government doesn't need it, or the company is doing something that is much too fringe and isn't necessary, right? and otherwise, if this they can't do this, then the public institution or the private institution go ahead and buy the person and the technology to ensure they can conduct the research on their own. Thirdly, understand one very important thing is that when you restrict this kind of this research directly from the companies to the researchers, it's very likely for these institutions to go ahead and lobby the government, to lobby politicians to ensure that the funding goes in the way in which they wish for it to, right? Understand the big oil is necessarily going to fund the politicians to ensure that the scientific research that is being conducted in universities necessarily happens in a way that benefits them, that shows that it's not as bad, that global warming doesn't exist, things like that, right? On the alternative, on our side, what happens is that you still have private institutions being funded by the government who can continue to create more objective research, can continue to focus on things which are not necessarily important at the moment, because of virtue of being funded by government for doing these things. Understand that because of this, when companies go ahead and start lobbying companies to lobbying the government to do these things, you're necessarily removing the objectivity of science from as a whole, right? You no longer have institutions that are objective and can publish research which are objective in nature and can show the true nature, because can show the truth as a whole, right? Also, it disincentivizes the government from actually funding research which doesn't have urgent benefits, which they would have to do in the other if these companies weren't involved at all. Understand what happens in the possibility of an urgent necessity of technology. That the opening is talked about vaccines and law, and understand why it's important to have corporate research in this case, right? For starters, the government, by virtue of having a lot of other things to look after, a lot of things like infrastructure, cannot necessarily very quickly reallocate money towards such research, right? On the other hand, corporates can do this. Secondly, because of the virtue of fact of having shareholders an urgent necessity. Also understand, my next video will give you more substantiatives, but understand very importantly what the government comes in and says about very important property, intellectual property rights existing. Understand that a lot of research that is genuinely very important to the people, to ensure that it improves the quality of life of a lot of people, can be, the government can put restrictions to ensure that these things aren't necessarily patented. Improve their quality of life, right? Because the possibility of the patent on these things exists. Although it come here and tell you about how the quality of life across the board increases because of these companies conducting the
All right, am I audible?
Yeah.
Just give me like 15 seconds, I'll start. All right. So I'll start my speech in. Okay, so who was keeping the timer? Please make sure to start it, because I'm not looking at the screen right now. All right. So I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Oh, just a second. Just a second. Shit. Just a second. Yeah, right. So I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, I'll do 3 things in this debate. Firstly, rebut the other sides, and secondly, extend and establish our case, and lastly, tell you why we take the debate, right? Firstly, talking about side opposition. OO comes and tells you that, you know what, government is struggling to fund research and etc. etc. You know what, spending money on things that are representative of the majority opinions, like, you know, maybe the tallest statue and etc. etc. and things is what government has money for, but they do not have money to spend like scientific research that's probably going to be groundbreaking and that's going to be very, very important to the country for a number of reasons, like soft power, like the betterment of quality of life of people, etc. etc. And I don't understand where their prioritization goes when they talk about this. Next, they talk about like basically three problems, right? They think that there's going to be a problem with capital, there's going to be a problem with the accountability or the efficiency, and then they're talking about also the progressiveness, right? I'll rebut all those points. Firstly, talking about capital, when institutions like MHRD exist where fundings happen in transparent ways, it is just abhorrent to make such claims that government is inefficient and it's not functioning properly when there's literally a judiciary, when there are literally regulatory bodies to fund educational research and things of that nature, right? Claiming that the government is absolutely inefficient, in which case the country would have been in chaos right now, is totally not acceptable. They also say that service level funding leads to more funding on superficial things that gives the government political incentive. Understand it happens worse on their side, right? Firstly, two reasons to this. Firstly, now there are no diverse fields of research, which means that there's no environmental research or things that are probably like, you know, would have existed when there was government funding. And secondly, now that government is funding, in our case, there is more possibility for better reach and better quality of such research because government has the power to like regulate all this, right? We think there won't be this monopolization that Ragini talks to you about in the field of research. Secondly, talking about efficiency and accountability, we think that there are regulatory bodies, there is existence of media bodies and social media, which has the accountability of government funds, right? We think people will call out things that internally happen in these structures with the modern age of technology and like such media bodies and social media and all existing. And there are also regulatory bodies that control government fund, which is not totally wrecked, which is like the government's, which is the opposition's picture in their head, which we don't think is true. Thirdly, when they talk about scientists having lesser incentives to work, it is far worse on their side, right? Understand, not all scientists are biotechnologists to like find COVID vaccines, not with the ones in AI. Right? They're often the ones that are struggling, like environmentalists, etc., who are way better off in our case. And I go ahead to tell you why when I talk about our case. They don't literally give any exclusive benefit at this point. The best case is that they might have better research and groundbreaking technologies for, say, vaccines. But from right from OG, the government's bench has been saying that there's going to be limiting and not banning of corporate funding, which means that the amount of these companies will probably be limited. We think even if this exists, there'll be corporates that go ahead and do these fundings because of these two reasons. Firstly, they'll continue to go ahead and do this funding simply because it's more beneficial for them to like rather go into the turmoil of like setting up their own R&D labs, etc. Secondly, the corporates are probably big enough to fund their own R&D labs, in which case scientists and professors or students will be hired or something and will be made to research on this for their benefit. We don't think it's going to affect the groundbreaking technology or science outcomes in any way, which is also the thing that CO talks about. Coming to side CO, they also, I don't understand what this 7.5 minutes of straw manning was, but I'll still go ahead and rebut as much as I can. Firstly, them talking about long-term goal and development, Ragin literally talked to you about the conflict of interests of students, which I have no idea why you would literally never tackle, and I don't understand why they'd come ahead and argue for us. And talking about like objectivity and etc., I don't think it makes much of sense either, because there was this basic contradiction when CEO comes and says weird things like private research will be government funded, etc., which was not very clear, which was just literally straw manning of the government benches case. When they talk about lobbying, it's still better than their side, because these companies will have direct control in their side on funding and research of things of that nature, right? Even in a worst case, there is accountability of government because it can't just do things according to its whims and fancies in the presence of media bodies, opposition parties, and regulatory bodies, and etc., right? And panel, I want you to ask 3 questions to yourself at the end of this debate. Where is research better? Where are people benefited better? And where do we have tangible outcomes? And I'm proud to say that it's going to be from side closing government. Panel, this is what we tell you from side CG. Monopolization of research will happen. And Ragini has literally given you so many reasons as to why this privatization is bad and why this essentially happened. Firstly, corporates working for their own interests is very bad. And Ragini has already talked to you about like how they'll go ahead and publish research or incentivize scientists to like say things for their own favor. For example, ExxonMobil going ahead and funding scientists or like funding research that's probably gonna like show the lesser impacts of environmental damage and etc. of things of that nature. And this is how corporates are going to essentially work for their own favor. Secondly, about the conflict of interest of students, the reason why this happens is that if if corporate funding exists, the sectors of automobiles, vaccines, etc., or like so computer science research, etc., will be which are corporate aligned, will be funded. But things like developing an efficient crop management system to farmers or environmental areas of research a sideline and not paid as much as that of the mainstream ones, right? For example, me being in agriculture department might just shift to projects or research projects that involve ML or NLP or things of that nature because of more stipend, because of more monetary benefits and things of that nature, which essentially leads to our third consequence of narrowing down options of research, which is extremely problematic to the whole section of academia itself. We've literally talked to you about like these like these bad effects or these like the stakeholders existing like extending it to students as well. Understand, if government is going to limit corporate funding, it is evident that the replacement is going to be government funding, right? Because in the age of so many educated voters and students, this will portray the government in a bad light if they do not fund these things, which obviously they wouldn't want, by the same logic of opposition with regards to vote. What is the alternate that we give you? Government funding. We think it's more important to do this because like the issues that are probably like extremely important but often sidelines, like environment, etc., are going to be sidelined when there's going to be corporate research on like selected fields, and I've already literally given you reasons as to why there's going to be narrow research streams, right? For example, the people living in the riverside slums that drink polluted river water because of lack of research on that side. It also looks like the tribal people still having genetic diseases because of their gene and etc. will not be considered upon because these areas of studies won't be taken up because there's no corporate incentive to do so. Government funding in research areas will again, by opposition's own logic, to show benefits to the minorities to gain their vote, will be done by the government so as to have given a better quality of life to them and use them in their favor of their vote. Even if in that case, of tokenism, we think it is still better and gives tangible benefits on our side. And lastly, talking about like better alignment of the interests of the people, we think it's going to be much better for the people that are researchers and scientists for the that of nature, because they'll have more flexibility to choose like the fields of research that they want and not be forced to take up some other sorts of research to maintain a basic quality of life and in order to sustain their livelihood and like for monetary benefits, etc. Ragini has already talked to you about like better soft power, and she also talked to you about like why development is important and why that'll be the utmost priority of the country, even if it's going to be the same by the same logic of side opposition having more voters. For all these reasons, extremely proud to propose.
Is my voice clear?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start in 10 seconds. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, I'll start my case with first taking down the entirety of CG and then extending upon our case and showing you how the impacts of the kinds of development that research of collaboration of corporates with government is going to be much more beneficial across the board, right? So talking about the points that CG brought up, one very small argument, I don't think it stood out as very important, but something that they mentioned was about how government bodies and government research will be under regulatory bodies and regulatory laws, because of which the kinds of research that they will provide in terms of their environmental impact, in terms of the internal regulations, that's going to be much better than corporate businesses, right? Understand that that's a very that's a very fringe thing to say, especially when we think that these regulations and these bodies, their jurisdiction will exist even for the corporates themselves, right? Understand that by functioning on the wrong side of the law and on the wrong side of these regulatory bodies, the corporates are not going to gain anything. We see this happening already, right? We see like environmental rules existing, regulatory bodies existing, like labor laws existing, and worker unions. Those things, we see them existing, and we see corporates aligning their functioning with respect to them. So we don't think that this point that they brought up is very exclusive to their side. Another thing that they talk about is, and this is a very counterintuitive point that they bring up, they think that diverse fields of research will not be possible on our side. We think that the government's interest in terms of the kinds of research that they want to prioritize and they want to fund is going to be much more restrictive on a very intuitive and logical sense than the kinds of research that different corporations focusing on many different things, having many different kinds of funds will be interested in, right? Understand that the government's interest in general will be things of basic necessities, things that when they provide for, they will have a better chance of being elected in the next elections. They'll have a better chance of having good feedback from the from their voters and from the people that they cater for, right? We think that these things will be of the nature of agriculture, or of the nature of like necessarily essential development, things that are of urgent need, right? We think that on the other hand, when corporates corporates focusing on many different things and like engaging in many different kinds of product trade, when they come into the picture and when they fund research that is undertaken by people of these government institutes such as IITs, who have the brains and who have the technologies and who have the incentives, we think that this focus will bring in this added dimension of different kinds of fields that they might be interested in. We think that now the focus will also shift to non-urgent development, and in the latter part of my speech I will explain to you why that is going to be beneficial and that's going to drive expansive social scientific development, right? Another thing that CG majorly focuses on is about the conflicts of interest of students. To that point, understand that if this conflict of interest happens because of lack of funding existing from corporates in these fields, then we don't see, and they don't explain it to us, and we don't see government being interested in these fields in the first place. So in that case, if government also isn't interested in funding research in your department, be it like agriculture or something that is not very related to the mainstream buzz things these days like NLP or machine learning, we think that by restricting by limiting corporate funding into these things, you are basically taking away all sorts of opportunity that these students might have for any kind of funding, right? We think that that's going to be very counterintuitive to the exact thing that they want to achieve. On the other hand, understand that companies capitalize on necessities of the consumers, and these consumers will remain the same on both sides. Understand that when companies see an avenue and they see they see a place in the market for any product that is not available yet, they'll capitalize on that and they will jump up on that opportunity to provide this for people and profit off that. We think that when multiple different companies are brought into the picture, the possibility of addressing all these necessities that involve students from different departments and research from different disciplines will be much higher than government focusing on scientific research, right? We think that in that case, providing for allowing significant funding from corporates into this government research is going to be beneficial for these students and these researchers in the first place. So we think that this point is completely is counterintuitive for them to say, because what they want to achieve is being worse off on their side. Now coming to the impacts of what we think research on our side would look like. Understand that when you provide for like significant amount of corporate funding into government research, we are going to see research of both kinds happening. We're going to see research that is going to be beneficial for the government, that is going to be sort of urgent for people of the country, and we're also going to see research that by nature exists to saturate the scientific curiosity of researchers and people. We think that the only focus of the outcome of scientific research should not be the direct, very direct and very obvious impacts that it has on the consumers and on the people itself, right? Because we think that non-essential research that is brought up because of curiosity in the long term leads to the development of many different technologies that finally benefit people. For example, there might be things you put research into. For example, physics at some certain point, if you put like research effort into that, then at some later point through that research you'll develop means of alternate energy resources and things like that, right? We think that these kinds of groundbreaking things, these kinds of things that have been obscure till the present the chances of this being brought to the front lines is going to be much higher if you don't just focus on the urgent necessities and try to expand scientific research just because of the virtue of it, right? We think that and we think that corporates are going to be, since corporates have this kind of bigger funding, them funding research is going to lead to such development being much greater in the first place. When we put this onus of like scientific research just on the government, we don't think that they're going to realize. We don't think that they're going to realize the existence of such a dimension even existing, because of which they will never be able to like discover such a thing, and these are the very things which finally bring about development, right? Like for example, if through this research like an alternate energy source is developed, then that's going to benefit people in the as a whole. We think that also that researchers can pass down the learnings that they get from working with corporates to their students, and can also develop their scientific research to these means. For all these reasons, we think that when you by not limiting corporate research into corporate funding into scientific research, you're going to benefit all the benefits that come out of scientific research in the first place. For all these reasons, propose.
I think that marks the end of the debate. I thank all the speakers for their respective speeches, and I think we can conclude this meeting now. Thank you.
Right. So, hi guys, me and Athar were just discussing the debate you guys had, and it's largely a decent debate. We had certain comments in terms of what went wrong in the debate and how you could have improved. But before we get into that, we had a unanimous verdict after watching the debate, and then sort of discussed on why we thought each of their teams they did. So we think closing government takes a first. Opening government takes a second, opening opposition takes a third, and closing opposition takes a fourth. In terms of margins, the first three teams were pretty close in terms of if there were a little bit of more analysis from any of the one team, they could have taken a first or a better position that they did. But we were sort of at the end of the debate very comfortable with coming to the ranking that we did. I think closing opposition in terms of the margin. Right, so this is how my adjudication is going to go. I'm going to first tell you why the opposition bench sort of lost out as a whole to the government bench, and then like bifurcate the opposition bench and tell you why OO took it over CO, and then tell you why CG took it over OG, and that'll be my verdict, right? So before I begin with like the classification of the benches, some comments on this debate. I think a large part of why this debate wasn't as good as it could have been, given the content that each speaker had and the kind of analysis they were trying to make, is because it was very uncomparative to the other side's argument or the other side's basic claim against your argumentation, which is to say that if the opposition's pushback to government was the state is ineffective in a large situations, bureaucracies are ineffective, government sort of just ignored it and said, yes, but corporations are worse. And vice versa as well, which is why I think like a large part of this debate became muddy, and ultimately the team that did sort of come up with the victory, which was CG, was the team that most attempted to sort of tackle issues in this debate and clarify. So first, why the opposition bench loses out to government bench? So I think primarily there are three claims that come out of side opposition, right? That first is that, look, government is not going to have the same money as corporations, which is directly proportional, like the amount of money that you have is directly proportional to the kind of research you do. And since you don't have as much money as before, this is why the research is going to be bad. Secondly, that like in a lot of situations, governments have their own biases, political biases, and things of that nature, which is why the research is going to be restrictive, and oftentimes scientists aren't going to like this. And third, and this is something that comes in CO primarily, which is that researchers are just going to go into private lab. The reason why all of these arguments don't match up to the analysis that government bench gives is they are primarily uncomparative to the burden that's been pushed on you. The burden that government bench throughout pushes on you is that, look, these corporations are self-serving. They want their own interests and things of that nature to be the priority and not the interests of the vulnerable communities, which is why any research that happens because of these corporations is going to be self-serving. At the point of time at which this is something that exists, the only pushback I get from this is in CO, where they say ki non-essential research is also important, which is why like this should exist, right? There are several reasons why this doesn't stick, and hence like off benches first burden falls away, right? So firstly, like CO themselves don't tell me why in the long run, like research for the long run is more important. Impacts that government bench has given to me in terms of these people really needing it, in terms of these people being in a bad position right now. But secondly, also, they do not prove to me why even this long-term research or non-essential research that they think corporations do is going to be in the benefit of people and not self-serving as well, which is why this issue that, look, corporates are just going to make money off of these important research is something that government bench just clearly runs away with, which is a big harm on opposition bench. How does then OO try to counter it? I think primarily what OO says is that, look, while we understand that our research is very pricey and like this might reach lesser people, at least it reaches some people. In your side of the house, the governments are just inefficient. The bureaucracy probably does not release money to these professors, and it's a bad situation altogether. There are several issues with this, right? I think the first one is they're extremely uncharitable to cite government in terms of the characterization they do of governments across the world, right? I think they primarily like take the example of a corrupt state or a state that's not functioning and sort of replicate that to throughout the world, or like base it off of local examples. I think this argument would have stood much better if they could have analyzed where these government exists and why largely those are the stakeholders that gov bench in themselves are talking about, which is why like their arguments don't stand. But secondly, apart from this uncharitable contribution characterization, they don't really tackle the pushbacks necessarily that come from DPM, and then along the line much better fleshed out in sort of member and whip, is that, look, governments have an incentive for this due to this research, because A, they want these economies to be self-serving, they want their country to grow because that gives them soft power and that's why they're voted into power, and B, because a lot of people like largely depend on these contributions, and they make up again like the vote banks of these governments, which is why like they want to help them out, they want to give this research. I think OG has a nuance here also that OO misses, is the fact that if we limit funding from corporations, like as is like the scientific community and things of that, people of those natures are going to want to have funding, which is why more protests or say more calling out of the government from even those communities is going to happen, which is why funding is going to increase. The pushback from opposition here is, and only opening opposition, CO doesn't provide anything here, is that, look, there are more voter sensitive issues like food and things of that nature, which is why this won't be the first priority of the government. The reason government bench takes it by a clearish margin, because their analysis was quite exhaustive. I don't think opening oppositions was, because they don't analyze the impacts of it. They don't sort of prove like why a coexistence of these things does not exist, because that's a large claim that comes off in closing government, and that's why you lose out to closing government, because you don't prove why these two things cannot coexist together. The government is necessarily going to fund one thing over the other, apart from just giving me a one-liner that funds are limited or something like that, right? I think there was much better mechanization available and should have been used to prove this point, but largely this is inconsistent with the other part of your case and CO's case, where you say that objectivity of research is gone away or research becomes biased because governments have political agendas in these research, which intuitively makes any adjudicator, me and Athar including, think that, look, if a government has intuitive political agenda in a sphere, that necessarily means that their votes or their supporters sort of depend on it or sort of care about it. And if that is true, the whole analysis of governments being inefficient is something that is not very viable. Why then the last aspect of objectivity going away and like this becoming biased is something that still opposition bench cannot pull off. I think this is something that like still does not go into the favor of opposition, even if it's slightly closer than other clashes, is because of the fact that you never really compare this to the comparative of corporations sort of hiding information, right? And I think this is where CG's framing of like, look, like this bias and objectivity is something that's much worse in opposition's world, where literally people have people have like conflicts with what the research they're doing because corporations don't want to lose their business, because corporations don't want to fund something that's going to put them out of business, is something that's bad, right? Which is why it sort of becomes an asymmetric harm. I am not clear as to on which side this harm is worse, because nobody does that impact framing for me, and hence like it's not enough for me to like give either of you a first. Why CO loses out to OO, and this was clear. This was a clear sort of win for OO in our opinion. OO was much closer to GovBench than CO, was because I think a large part of CO's case in terms of inefficiency of the government, in terms of governments being like in some situations corrupt, was dependent on OO's analysis, a sort of repetitive of OO's analysis. And the other thing that CO did wrong was they did not place their analysis of sort of this non-essential research being important, this objectivity in research and how that's different from OO's analysis of government politicization not happening, right? Which is to say that like while I agree the premise of some sort of a long-term research being important in society is something that's crucial, it does not place well in this debate because it is not impacted well enough. The member doesn't do enough of a justice to that argumentation in terms of mechanizing it, in terms of telling me why that won't be in the interest of corporates, telling me why that's necessarily more important than the other kinds of research that government is talking about. So that's primarily off-bench, CO and OO, why they lost to the GovBench, and CO, why they lost to OO, everything on that side of the house done. Then the last comparison in this debate remains in terms of CG and OG, right? And I think this was the closest clash in this debate. And I think largely why this clash was so close was because closing government, why they had a lot more nuance and understanding of this motion, failed to frame it in a way that was vastly different from opening government, which is why they were dragged to a very close race with opening government. So I think both sides make the claim that, look, governments have incentivizations because people vote on these issues, because people care about these issues, which is why like governments necessarily have a incentivization to do well in it, and hence the politicization is not that bad of a thing. I think largely why even in this clash CG's analysis becomes more crucial is I think they are able to mechanize why people care about it much better than opening government, right? I think opening government does give me a couple of examples of agriculture and IIT Kharagpur or like various other things that help people out. But I think CG in the way of mechanizing it is able to tell me that, look, these are fields that corporates don't necessarily fund, because either that could be against their like livelihood or what they are trying to produce, or B, they don't necessarily care because it's not their field. The reason government has to fund this is because it's very important for the government's economy, for it to be self-sustaining, for it to not have imports and exports from different reasons, which is to say that a lot of people are employed because of this, and hence like people have a care of voting on these issues. This is able to like sort of clear the deadlock that sort of existed between OG and OO in terms of whether people care about this, whether people don't care about this, with this new piece of analysis that, look, people do care about it because oftentimes nobody else is necessarily funding this. But also like the other piece of analysis that I think is largely what sort of convinces me that like CG should take this debate is they're also able to analyze what corporate funding does to scientific research and as a whole, right? I think OG stops to the extent where they say that corporate funding is something that exists and this funding is not good because the products are sold at a higher price and things of that nature because these companies care about profit. I think they stop there. I don't think opening government analyzes how this affects or negatively affects the other research happening around it and the diversity of said researchers. I think this is something that CG talks about where they say, look, nobody wants to get into environmental research because corporates are literally pushing people out of them, because corporates are literally like sort of funding lies and funding things that like won't appeal to most scientific community, right? I think this is something that adds to the nuance of the investor that opening government has talked about, which is to say that it's not necessarily just the product, but also like stopping of various good researchers that could have helped other people like sort of prosper, right? And lastly, like in terms of differentiating between CG and OG, I think CG is much better able to engage with OO, like to the extent that OG is, which is to say that, look, I know it's slightly harder for OG to engage with OO. But given that you did have one speech of OO, and like that was largely the matter that did come out of OO, since the second speech was more of a responsive speech, I expected the rebuttals to be slightly better in terms of not just saying that, look, countries like UK are going to distribute their vaccine, but also talk about what happens within poorer countries or what happens within the economy or different things and the nuance of those natures, right? I think like largely because of these reasons, CG takes a first, OG takes a second, OO takes a third, and CO takes a fourth. But yeah, decent debate, guys. Thank you for doing this. That ends my adjudication.